It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. Happy Tuesday and welcome to this week's edition of Falcon Focus, episode number 11 here in season number 4. My name is Matt Menzel. We focus this week in segment number 2 on men's hockey. They're coming off a 4-0 shutout victory against Marion on Saturday. And we'll talk with their brand new head coach, Jim Masso. But up first here in segment number 1, we talk wrestling with senior Jack O'Donnell. And again, we thank you for joining us. A quick note, we will not be with you next Tuesday. We'll take the week off and come back on Tuesday, the 6th of December, for our final Falcon Focus here in semester number 1. Jack, thanks for your time here on this Tuesday. How did you start in the sport of wrestling? When did you start in the sport of wrestling?
So I started the sport of wrestling my freshman year of high school. I grew up, though, doing jiu-jitsu and martial arts of that form. And kind of going to high school, I kind of wanted to do a sport that kind of related to jiu-jitsu, and wrestling was the closest thing. So it was kind of just like a no-brainer, just kind of jump into it and get going.
Was it an easy adjustment to make, or did it take some time to get used to?
It was definitely it was an easy adjustment. There's definitely a few things that I had to kind of work through just because jiu-jitsu is a different type of kind of combat sport and everything like that, so there's different positions, but it was a fairly easy adjustment for me.
As far as some of the traditional sports, football, basketball, soccer, did you try any of those other sports growing up?
I pretty much did all sports growing up. Just jiu-jitsu and wrestling was what I fell in love with and what was my passion for.
What was it about those sports that you really gravitated toward?
I think it was just the more of a one-on-one aspect. Just kind of, it's everything's on you, pressure's on you, the lights are on you, and I kind of like that, and makes me feel just kind of where I'm at to be in when I'm in a sport.
When you think about the sport of wrestling, okay, we talk about what you love about it. What do you find to be the most challenging aspect of the sport?
Challenging is definitely the mindset you have to go into when in the sport like wrestling. You have all the factors of having to keep your weight in control, managing it. You have the hard, long practice, the morning, afternoons, even you have to get your extra workouts in at night. It's a grueling sport where you have to kind of just stay focused and stay determined throughout the whole process, and it can be a long season. It can feel like a long season. I think that's one of the most challenging, but it's also one of the most rewarding once you're done with it, and kind of gives you the best feeling after it.
You're from Huntington Beach, California. I'm sure you get this a lot, but how did you end up in Wisconsin?
So originally I was in Iowa for a year and a half before I transferred here. My brother went here for four years. Just kind of I didn't want to go to school inside of California. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone, experience new things. And when I transferred, I saw how great Concordia was from my brother through FaceTime calls and everything like that. So that's where I chose to be my home for the rest of my college.
In high school, you went to Westminster.
Yes.
What are your memories of wrestling for that program?
Oh, it was an awesome program. A lot of good memories. Just being able to have a good team aspect like we have here, being able to translate that through college it was awesome. Made a lot of good friends, and actually one of my friends from that school is here wrestling with me today. He's a freshman this year, Ruben Vasquez. So it's awesome to have him here with us as well.
So slowly but surely, all the Lions are starting to come
exactly
this direction to Concordia.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of Westminster, who's the big rival when it comes to wrestling?
It's tough to say. We have a lot of different rivals. I would say Garden Grove is one of our rivals and everything like that in the city.
Did I see that you guys have a mascot, Leo the Lion? Is that correct?
Leo the Lion, yes, sir.
There you go.
Yep.
You mentioned coming here to Concordia, stopped in Iowa before making your way here and transferring to the Concordia program. Your brothers, you mentioned, wrestled here. How big of an influence did he have? And you talked about, FaceTime and just kind of, watching from afar. But how big of an influence did he have in you ultimately coming to Concordia?
He had a pretty big impact on me coming to Concordia. One of the main reasons why I wanted to come here was to be able to wrestle have a season with my brother and be able to wrestle with him on a team. So I wish I had more time to wrestle with him more than just a semester, but that was one of the big reasons why I came in, how highly he talked about this school and the athletics and the academics just summed it all up for me and made me definitely want to come here and finish my career out here.
So how special was it to get that one semester with your brother?
It was awesome. It was just a different kind of feeling, being able to wrestle with your brother like you did in high school, and it was something that I'll cherish for a long time and be able to think back when I'm old, thinking about my good old wrestling days. So it was something that I really, really appreciated and was blessed to have.
Do you know what attracted your brother originally here to Concordia?
Well, my cousin actually went here to
Okay.
Concordia, so kind of the line of family.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he talked very highly of it. And when my brother took his visit, he fell in love. And I mean, one of the big things is the lake that we both love. We're from California. We love the ocean, the beach, and everything. So it kind of brings that little feeling here. So we also love that here.
Now, in 2020-21, that was your first year with the Concordia, Wisconsin program. You were an NWCA All-American. When you look back at that first year here on this campus, what do you attribute the success that you had on the mats to?
First, a good team environment, having everyone in the room. We're getting after every day. We all push each other, holding each other accountable. And then also just having Coach Cook around. Coach Cook brings such a great high energy. He wants what's best for us and is always pushing us to be the best version of ourselves. So I think that was a big factor in the success I had that year and the years I've had since being here. And it helps us elevate to the next level.
Let me ask you about that. What's it like to wrestle for a guy like Kevin Cook, but also you have Brett Corner who knows a thing or two about wrestling?
It's awesome, the knowledge that they have in the sport and the experience they bring to us, and it gives us a whole nother look, and they, like I said before, they push us to new levels, and it's just awesome to have them in the room and be around guys like that.
So talking about your first year at Concordia, overall, okay, so you're still relatively new to wrestling at that point because you, as mentioned, started in high school. What was the big change then going from competing at the high school level, at least in your opinion, what was the biggest change then competing at the collegiate level?
Collegiate level, it's compared to high school, everyone's tough, really. In high school, you get some of the wrestlers that are just kind of just there to be there. Everyone in college is there to compete and get after it. So you have to kind of switch that mindset. Okay, every match is going to be a hard, tough-fought match, and that's definitely the difference, I believe, in college and high school sports, is everyone's just there to compete and get after it.
I read in your first year you recorded a fall of 38 seconds. What do you remember about that accomplishment?
Just kind of getting after and then wanting to just get it done with. I believe that was here at the Open, and it was my last match of the day, and I was like, okay, I'm tired. I got to get over and get it done quick. So.
Well, what's crazy is in the very next year, speaking of the CUW Open, you had a 14-second fall, which, I mean, don't blink.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that happen?
It's just one of those things where the position falls there, and you just got to take advantage of it, and it happens.
That's incredible. You barely break out of sweat.
Yep, so it's nice. Get on, get off real quick.
Let's speak of last year. You competed in 35 matches, finishing 26-9. How did you feel last year went for you?
Last year it was a good year. I saw a lot of things that were good and a lot of things that I needed to improve on. I didn't ultimately accomplish the goals I wanted to achieve, but that's what this sport is about. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you got to look at it through a different perspective and just keep getting better. And last year was a good year, I believe, and this year's going to be even better.
When you look back at last year, is there one match, is there one opportunity that you point at and go, that's the highlight of last season?
Not really, no. I don't really have one match that I look at and just kind of think that, but I do just have one match in my mind that is what motivates me and pushes me every day to get to the level I want to be and to achieve the goals I want to achieve.
Obviously, you're a student athlete, so we talk about your success on the mats, but also your success in the classroom. And you're one of 4 Falcons last year named an NWCA Scholar All-American. What does that mean to you to have success both on the mat but also in the classroom?
That it really means a lot. It's one of my most memorable and favorite accomplishments I've had so far in my schooling. I mean, to be a student athlete is one thing, and to be able to go through a sport and do schooling at the same time is awesome for all these people who are in them, and to be able to be an All-American in that sense is very awesome to me, and I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to be able to do that.
Absolutely, a great accomplishment. What is your major here at Concordia? What do you hope to do with that one day?
Justice and public policy, so I'm looking to do law enforcement after I'm done here, so probably go back home to join the Orange County Sheriff Department and carry out my life in that career and hopefully change into like SWAT or the gang units and stuff like that.
Where did that interest come from?
I've kind of always been in my mind either law enforcement or military. I've had a lot of, my father was in the military. My brother now is law enforcement. I've had multiple cousins and family members in military and law enforcement. So it's kind of always just been in our family and something that we've always wanted to do as when we were kids.
Well, very nice. All the best with that. And coming back to the here and now with this 2022-23 season, okay, it began back on November the 10th. Had a great showing that night in which the Falcons knocked off Carthage 40-2 and Lakeland 57-0. Your thoughts the way the season started for you, but also for this team?
It started off good. We came out firing like getting a shutout 57-0 is something to be super proud of. It's very hard to do in a collegiate sport, and it was awesome to start the year off 2-0 like that, and just we're looking to keep it going, and it's amazing to have a good start to our senior year like that because we have many seniors on our team, so it's awesome.
I understand that you're a little banged up right now, but hopefully you'll be back on the mat soon.
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
So then you were in more of a quote-unquote coaching capacity, I understand, this past weekend.
Yes.
Could coaching ever be in your future, do you think?
Definitely. I think coaching will definitely be in my future. I would love to be able to come back here and coach here, but we'll see where it takes me.
Now, when you watch your teammates compete and put your coach hat on for a second, what are you watching for? I guess when you watch a match, and I'm guessing you're not just watching for enjoyment, but you're looking to help your teammates out any way you can. Well, what are you watching?
I'm just kind of watching for the things that we worked on in practice and seeing how they translate into competition, and just overall seeing improvement and toughness in our team and getting out there and competing. Not really looking for anything specific, but just seeing how we're practicing and how that translates to competition and seeing that jump in levels.
Well, this past weekend on Friday for a second consecutive year, call it the entree prior to the CUW Open. You guys had Bryant and Stratton once again on the schedule and came away with a 38-12 win. Again, putting your coach's hat on, what did you see from your teammates on Friday?
We saw a lot of toughness. We had a lot of matches where we had to just get down and gritty, and it was awesome to see that and see them and see the things that they needed to prove on from that duel and translate that into the Open was awesome. So it was just a whole awesome experience, and just coaching is a whole different perspective than being on the mat, and you see things that you wouldn't see wrestling. So it's awesome to be able to have moments like that.
And then Saturday here inside the John Book Fieldhouse, the 29th annual CUW Open. For those that haven't been here or are not familiar with what the CUW Open is, it really is it not a who's who of Division III wrestling?
It is. It's one of the biggest Division III tournaments you could get, and there's national champions, All-Americans in every weight class, and it's a tough tournament, and it's a great tournament to start the season off to get a good feel of how everything's going to go.
What did you see from the Falcons on Saturday?
We saw a lot of great things from them. It's just toughness, the improvement we've seen from the room from previous duels and everything to the CUW Open. It's crazy to see how fast and great they pick up things and improve on things, and we looked awesome. Obviously, we didn't get some of the results we wanted to get, but it's early in the season right now. As much as you want to place at the CUW Open, we have bigger goals towards the end, and that's what we're working towards.
Absolutely. When we look at the immediate road ahead for wrestling, they're off until Saturday, December 3rd with the MSOE invite, and then right back here for a matchup against Elmhurst on December the 8th at 7. Let's look at the team for a second. You mentioned the seniors. There are 8 seniors, including yourself, on this current roster, 6 juniors. A lot of experience, so I'm venturing to guess from that standpoint, you kind of picked up where you left off last year, did you not, as a team?
Yeah, we definitely did, and to have 8 seniors in a lineup and on a team is tremendous because that experience just transfers over, and we're all hungry to get after it and just succeed and have fun.
So far, how have the newcomers been fitting in?
Newcomers been awesome. They're working hard every day. We see so much great potential, and we have a lot of them just performing awesome in our duels and tournaments. Like I said, Ruben Vasquez, he's starting off great. We have Dawson, Seth. They're all working hard, and we're going to have some great things coming for them.
To put you on the spot for a second, besides yourself, when you look at this team, who are some of the wrestlers that we should be keeping an eye on as the season progresses?
Keeping an eye out for is really everyone on our lineup, but we have Gabe Rodriguez at 133, Dalton Sell at heavyweight, Jonathan Poland, Carson Cook, and a lot of the seniors, and because they're looking to make their final run, and they're flipping the switch and looking to get after it this year and going to make that jump. And it's going to be awesome to see them do that.
What goals do you have for yourself when you get back on the map, but also for this team going forward?
Goals for myself is well, we have a great opportunity. We're hosting the regional tournament here, which is our national qualifier. So to qualify for nationals here at Concordia and hopefully be at the top of the podium at the end of the year. And for team-wise is continuously getting better and winning these duels, like tough duels like Elmer's coming up. We're going to win that and just constantly progressing in our wrestling and have everyone get better each day, but while having fun doing it and staying healthy.
I want to wrap it up. It is Thanksgiving weekend, and with that being said, your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Favorite Thanksgiving food? I'm going to have to go pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie.
I'm a big pumpkin pie guy, so.
Do you have plans for Thanksgiving?
No plans. I think we're doing a little Friendsgiving with some of
Nice.
our friends, but I'm going to be staying here and enjoying the Wisconsin Thanksgiving.
Let's wrap it up by what are you thankful for this year?
Very thankful for, one, the opportunity to wrestle and be here back at Concordia for my senior year. Just thankful for my family and friends, coaches, teammates, and everyone who's in my life that pushes me and supports me.
Well, Jack, I appreciate your time. Can't wait to see you back on the mat and all the
Thank
best
you.
this season.
Thank you, sir.
That is Jack O'Donnell. When we come back, our focus will turn to men's hockey. We'll be joined by their new head coach, Jim Masso. Falcon fresh off a victory against Marion on Saturday 4-0. You're tuned into this week's edition of Falcon Focus.
Since 1978, Lutheran Church Extension Fund has had the humble privilege of supporting the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod in fulfilling its mission of sharing the gospel.
Thanks to our faithful investors, we provided thousands of church workers, congregations, schools, and organizations with the resources they need to reach more people with the saving name of Christ. It's what we do.
Because our greatest joy comes from seeing LCMS Ministries and her workers thrive, we will continue to make precious resources available, both today and far into the future. It's our promise to you.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund. We want to be part of your great and exciting work.
Welcome back to this week's edition of Falcon Focus, episode number 11 here in season number 4. And our focus now on men's hockey, coming off a great win in NCHA play, a 4-0 shutout of Marion on Saturday, and being joined by the new head coach of the Falcon men's hockey team, Jim Masso. You were announced as the 4th head coach in program history back in August. What attracted you to this opportunity?
Yeah, I think, I've always found excitement in new challenges as a coach, and I've coached for about 10 years full-time now, and some of my favorite opportunities that I've had the pleasure of coaching were programs that had a lot of tools but weren't necessarily at the peak of their history, so I think I came in and I met the athletic director, Rob, and kind of listened to his vision of the program, kind of looked at the facilities, the tools, the campus. I loved the area right away. I grew up on the East Coast, so I just like new challenges and new experiences. So when I came here, I just fell in love with the place right away and felt like this could be home, and we had all the pieces to build something special here.
So you were announced, at least publicly, that you were becoming the new head coach in August. How wild have the last 3.5 months been then for you in preparing for this season?
Yeah, for sure. I think, as a head coach, it's not always about X's and O's. You're just trying to set a culture, get things organized the way you want to, just so you can operate on a day-to-day in the manner that you think is going to be needed for success of the players, so they can develop and grow and have a good experience and try to win hockey games too. So there wasn't really a lot of runway to get here and put my stamp on things immediately. Luckily, I have an awesome assistant coach in Nate Eminger, who was here last year, helped with the transition. When I got here, he had everything's set up so well. The guys have their apparel, their jerseys, the equipment. Everything was really in place. So he did an exceptional job helping the transition. So I was able to kind of transition more seamlessly and focus on hockey and starting the recruiting process and figuring out what players we're going to need for the future of our program.
So when you take over a program, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what is the first thing you tend to tackle? Is it the roster? I mean, is there something else that you go in, hey, this is the first thing that I need to make sure we have solidified?
Yeah, I think the first thing, most important, is the culture, setting a tone right away of what my expectations are. We want a very hardworking, compete-level hockey team. We want guys that are positive and supporting each other. We are a structured mindset. I'm a structured coach, so discussing the urgency of being on time to things, being a good person on campus, getting our name out there in the community and being good citizens, and I think when you create a good locker room dynamic, no matter where you start, you can just put the pieces together and get better one day at a time, and eventually you'll get where you want to get. So I think just getting the culture in place of who we are, forming our identity, what we're going to be, that's the first step.
When you look at the roster, does it make it a little bit easier to build that culture, to find that identity? When you have a roster, it's relatively new. Everybody's new, so it's kind of like everyone's in this together with 20 newcomers.
Yeah, I think it's exciting and scary at the same time. We have a team full of 21-year-olds playing against teams of 25-year-olds that have been playing together for 4 or 5 years now. So we knew, our main focus wasn't necessarily how many games we're going to win right away. We wanted to learn how to compete at this level and, like I said again, find our identity, figure out what our playing style is going to be and to be successful in this conference. And the goal for year one is to build day-to-day habits to get better and figure out what we have and then figure out what pieces we need moving forward from a recruiting standpoint to fill in the gaps. And our goal is to win a championship and compete at the national stage. So it's great that our conference has, 3 of the top 5 teams in the country to compete with every day. And, it's lofty to try to, win those games right now today, but essentially it gives us a chance to see where we stack up and every periodically play them again, see how much better we're getting and where we need to be, So I think we have all the tools to achieve that, and we're already hitting the ground running, winning games that people thought we weren't going to be able to win. So it's just an exciting time.
When you look at day one of training camp to now 8 games into this regular season, what progress have you seen?
Ton. I was actually joking with my assistants, Jose and Nate, the other day. I said, if I had to choose one guy right now of who the most improved guy is, I don't know if I could pick. There's guys that have come in that, I wasn't sure what their tool set looked like or what kind of player they were going to be. And there's a handful of guys that have already totally changed the way they play and have already become college hockey players in 6 weeks, And it's incredible as a group how much better they're getting every day. And, we still have a ways to go, but I think from a team mechanic standpoint, we are playing as a team already. And it's a bunch of guys that have never played together already playing as a team. And I think the games we're winning is because we're playing with more structure and system mechanics than the other teams, So to be able to have that already is really exciting for the future of the program.
What's kind of neat already is 8 games in, 12 players have scored goals already.
Yeah.
I mean, did you kind of expect maybe a little bit of balance like that, or were you kind of hoping somebody would emerge as that go-to scorer, or do you like the balance?
Yeah, I've always had success with the depth part of my teams. The championships I've won as a coach, it wasn't the top guys doing all the work. We were successful as a team by using our entire bench. We are incredibly conditioned. So if we can use every player in that locker room over the course of the game, we're going to typically outrun teams by the end. So I think, a lot of those things are contributing to the success so far.
When you look at the roster, there are 4 goaltenders on that active roster. How's the competition been for playing time at that position?
We are not short of good goaltending.
No.
We have 4 goalies that all can go in and win a hockey game at this level. So I think it's easy for goalies to get frustrated because there's only one net and there's 4 guys, so they all want to be the guy in there. But ultimately, the competition makes them better, and they also know that when it's their turn to get in the net, it's a big opportunity. And right now, we've had multiple goalies, achieve and have good success with their opportunities. I think right now Rosick is on fire with his last 4, and there's a chance he's the best goalie in the country in the last 2 weekends. So. And we've got the other 2 guys that are right there with him. So, other 3 guys, sorry. And, we're excited.
You mentioned Gabe Rosick. He won't say it because he wants to give the credit to his teammates, but how good was he on Saturday?
So both Nate and Jose were former goalies. And when they come over to the bench, I'm like, I don't know how mechanically he made that save. He finds a way to compete all the way till the end, and even when a goal looks like it's going in, he'll find a way to get a piece of it. He's just a fighter, and I think, having good goaltending is the best start to rebuilding a program, right? So, we're excited about our goalies for sure.
Rosick had a career high of 52 saves in his first collegiate shutout of Marion, the first ever shutout for the Falcons of Marion in program history. When you look at just that performance for the team on Saturday, how eager were they to get back on the ice after a competitive matchup Friday but a tough overtime loss?
Yeah, we felt we really could have and maybe should have won the first game at times. It could have gone either way. We could have won, we could have lost, but we had opportunities to win in that game. And, right now where we're at, we're so hungry for a win. I think, they're starting to believe in themselves, like playing ranked teams and the experience we had against River Falls and coming close to beating them twice. And I think we just needed that first win against trying to build some confidence to say, hey, we can do this. And then they just smelled blood when it came to Marion, and they were like, you know what, we figured this out. So they just put the pieces together, and again, with good goaltending at the same time, usually leads to good results.
A fantastic night at the Ozaki Ice Center on Saturday on top of the game itself, also wearing the green jerseys, raising awareness for mental health. Team looking to keep it rolling now tonight against MSU. It's a non-conference matchup. They will face the Raiders in January a couple of times in NCHA play. I know every coach and every sport is different. Early in the season, do you approach non-conference games any differently than a conference matchup?
We haven't. Our goal was to come in and figure out how to succeed at this level with brand new guys. So we're trying to create an identity. We're trying to create, consistency with how we approach and prepare for games. So right now we're trying to be the best version of ourselves every day. I will say it is nice to kind of look at the standings of conference and be like, hey, we got something here early, so that it's nice to look at that record. But no, right now we're just trying to build our identity and operate in the same capacity every single day.
After tonight's non-conference matchup, the Falcons return to NCHA play. Coming up on December 2nd, home against St. Norbert, and then up into Pierre on the 3rd of December. So 8 games into this regular season. Do you feel like right now or what would you say would be the strengths of this team, and maybe what areas do you want to see to continue to improve?
Yeah, our heart is our strength. We have – our injury list right now is absurd. I think we're going in tonight with 4 healthy defensemen, and we have, a forward playing back on D to give us some extra legs. Our team will to compete and our heart to get the job done is through the roof. I think that's the reason why we are winning hockey games. We still have to build the skill and getting better over the course of over years like some of the other teams. But I think from a team standpoint, we're excelling as a team. So I think it's just kind of rounding out the pieces. I think there's a couple guys in that locker room that still have more to give and more to step up. There's some of our top guys haven't really scored a goal yet necessarily. So I think some guys just need to get that monkey off their back and get the ball rolling for them individually.
Getting to know you a little bit better. You played your hockey at Fitchburg State at the collegiate level. What are your memories playing with that program?
We were fortunate enough to win 2 championships while I was there, and I will say that locker room was phenomenal. That was the closest group of guys I had ever played with. And I think that really helped transition and get the team on that level where they were competing, winning championships and competing on the national scale. So I think, I would like to take those experiences and kind of that thought process of having a really good, positive culture where the guys love doing what they're doing every day, but still willing to work really hard. I think those times kind of showed me what that balance can look like, and I've applied that to what we're trying to build as a coach.
When you were playing, was the thought in the back of your mind always that coaching was the route you wanted to go once your playing days were complete?
Yes, I always wanted to be a coach. My dad was a coach. We used to run, skills clinics and stuff as a kid. I was that kid with, we had 40 acres of land in the middle of nowhere. We had a pond that froze over out back, the shape of a hockey rink. We had a roller hockey sheet, concrete out front, the shape of a hockey rink. And then in my teenage years, we built like a synthetic training ice center. So it was always going to be in my blood to do something with hockey. I originally went to be a teacher, and I thought, hockey was going to be like an after-school type of activity, and ultimately decided, this is what I want to go for, and I left teaching to go pursue coaching, and it took some time to make it a career, but it's my favorite thing in the world right now.
So you were exposed to hockey from day one.
Oh yeah. I started learning how to walk on the back pond pushing a stroller. So we knew.
When you look at your coaching background, I read that you started the Vermont Lumberjacks premier team from scratch.
Yeah.
Tell us about that experience and how that became.
So the program actually was located in Washington D.C. prior to me getting there, and they had a really tough time recruiting to that territory. So they ended up moving that junior franchise up to Vermont, kind of started from scratch. The last team in Washington D.C. went 0-44, before I got there. So we went up there, really. That's where I kind of got my grassroots in terms of recruiting and building a roster by myself for the first time, and we were kind of like the island of misfit toys a little bit in the locker room, where we were taking guys that we saw some potential in, but other teams didn't necessarily want, and we started with that, and we had to develop guys from within, right? So that's kind of where, from a recruiting standpoint and then a coaching development side, we had to get better every day. I think we lost our first 8 games straight, and had a little gut check and morale. We had meetings to try to figure out how we're gonna how to play, and I think right then and there that group ended up on a tear in the second half and got back to 500, and we recruited the right guys to fill in the gaps, and in year 2 we had the best team in program history, So I think that's kind of our goal here is to get the guys, build the right habits day to day, really establish our core, and then in the off season go get, 5 to 8 guys that are going to come in and really be difference makers and go after some of these top teams, next year.
And with the Lumberjacks, you had the head coach and the GM tag.
Yeah.
For a team like that, what is the responsibilities of a GM?
So, in college, we're fortunate enough to have a communications department and athletic department. Someone schedules the buses and stuff for us, and we have the school collects tuition and all that. So, a GM is essentially running a business where they're negotiating contracts or making sure we hit our numbers for our budget standpoint. We're the guy, doing the laundry in the back of the room, making sure we have all we need. But everything from scheduling and with buses and hotels and meals and practices and games, and you're kind of like a one-man band.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, it is.
Jeez.
For sure.
Now, last year you were an assistant on the staff at University of New England. What made that team so successful?
So that was an exceptionally talented group of college hockey players. That team, not only did we win the conference championship for regular season, we also won the playoff championship. We won multiple games in the national tournament. We made it all the way to the Frozen Four. You know what I mean? So what that kind of taught me is, and we were able to take really good high-end players and get them to play as a team and be positive. And, sometimes it's easy to have egos when you're coaching all-stars, right? So, Kevin really kind of showed me how to have a dynamic of, still doing the right things with a group of guys that all want to be and are formerly have been the all-star where they came from. So, I think I have spent a lot of time as a head coach prior. I think I got to see, coaching at the college level from someone who's been successful, and we're able to kind of tweak a couple things with my personal philosophy as a coach. And, when I got this opportunity, I was able to kind of take my past experiences, apply what Kevin taught me, and kind of create a culmination of a little bit of both, So I think that really prepared me. He's one of the best coaches in college hockey right now, so I think he really prepared me to make sure I was ready to be a head coach at this level.
And again, now here you are at Concordia, fourth head coach in program history. I want to wrap it up with some Thanksgiving talk, and with Thanksgiving coming up in a couple of days, your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Well, so we're going to do 2 nights of Thanksgiving at our place this year.
Nice.
We're going to do a traditional turkey for Thanksgiving with stuffing and mashed potatoes. And then the second night, we're going to do prime rib. So, I don't get to go home and see my family often, so we're going to get 2 nights out of it. But the prime rib is something I don't typically cook on my own. So I'm very excited for that one.
That is exciting. Wrap it up with, what are you thankful for this year?
Opportunities. I who I am in life, like I don't want to go work in a cubicle my entire life. So I have to follow my passion, and right now my passion is coaching hockey. I don't have my own kids. Like, these guys kind of become, my family and my kids. So, just loving what you do every single day. I'm fortunate to have, an athletic director and a boss who gives me enough rope to do my best as a coach. I've got a school that has my back and gives me the right tools to succeed. And I've got a group of young men who are willing to be coached and give it their all every single night. So I'm just, I love going to the rink every single day and doing my job. And, my 2 assistant coaches have quickly become some of my best friends. So it's a feel-good attitude all the way around.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time. All the best this season.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And again, men's hockey will be in action non-conference tonight at MSOE at 7 o'clock puck drop. And then back at the Ozaki Ice Center for a 7:05 puck drop December 2nd, a big NCHA showdown against St. Norbert. Thanks for joining us. No show next week. We'll rejoin you coming up for our final episode here in the first semester on Tuesday, the 6th of December. Have a very happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for watching this week's edition of Falcon Focus.